Let me ask you something honest. How many times this past week did you end the day completely exhausted, feeling like you did 1,000 things, but none of them actually mattered? You answered emails, sat through meetings, updated spreadsheets, posted on social media, replied to messages, and when you finally lay down at night, that uncomfortable feeling crept in again. I worked so hard, but I didn't move forward. That's not laziness. That's not a lack of discipline. That is the trap of non-essentialism, and it's exactly what Greg McKeown wrote one of the most important books of the last decade about. Essentialism is not about doing more. It's not a productivity hack. It's not about waking up at 5 a.m. It's about something far harder. Learning to say no to the good so you have room to say yes to the extraordinary. And today, I'm going to show you how this book can completely transform the way you organize your days, your decisions, and ultimately, your life. McKeown opens the book with a brutal observation. Successful people attract more opportunities. More opportunities create more commitments. More commitments dilute focus. And diluted focus destroys the very thing that generated the success in the first place. He calls this the paradox of success. It works like this. Phase 1. You have clarity about what matters. You focus on it. You produce excellent results. Phase 2. Results build reputation. Reputation brings invitations, requests, opportunities. Phase 3. You start saying yes to everything. After all, these are good opportunities. Phase 4. Your energy scatters. You lose focus. Results decline, and you can't understand why. Most people live permanently in Phase 4, too busy to realize they're busy with the wrong things. And here's the central point of the book. If you don't set your priorities, someone else will set them for you. Your boss, your clients, your social media feeds, the algorithm, the group chat. Everyone has an agenda for your time, except, very often, you. The essentialist isn't someone who does less out of laziness. It's someone who deliberately eliminates the trivial to make room for the vital. It's the difference between reacting to life and designing life. McKeown divides the essentialist framework into 3 phases: explore, eliminate, and execute. Explore is about creating space to think. And this is radical, because most people never stop to think. They're so busy doing that they've forgotten to ask, why am I doing this? The essentialist gives themselves permission to pause, to reflect, to look at their week and ask, of the 20 things I did, how many actually moved the needle? Most of the time, the honest answer is 2 or 3. McKeown introduces something powerful here, the 90% rule. When evaluating an opportunity, a project, an invitation, a task, rate it from 0 to 100. If it's not at least a 90, it's a no. Not a maybe, not an I'll think about it. A no. Sounds radical? It is. But think about it. If you accept everything that's a 60 or 70, your calendar will always be full of mediocre things. And mediocre things have an invisible cost. They occupy the space that something extraordinary would need. Eliminate is the hardest part, because eliminating means saying no. And saying no means potentially disappointing people. McKeown acknowledges this and offers a liberating perspective. If it isn't a clear yes, it's a clear no. He tells the story of an executive who had meetings from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. every single day. When asked what he did for a living, he said, I attend meetings. Not, I lead the company. Not, I create strategy. He attended meetings. His calendar defined his identity, and his identity had become that of an attendee, not a leader. Execute isn't about complex systems. It's about making the execution of what's essential as effortless as possible. Removing obstacles, building routines, clearing the path so that what matters happens almost automatically. Think of it like a road. The non-essentialist tries to drive on 10 roads at once. The essentialist chooses one road, removes the potholes, and drives fast and with purpose. There's an entire chapter in the book dedicated to this, and for good reason. Most people are incapable of saying no without guilt. McKeown identifies why this happens. We're socially programmed to please. Saying yes is easy, immediate, and generates instant approval. Saying no is uncomfortable, creates tension, and sometimes generates conflict. But here's the truth the book exposes. Every yes you give to something that doesn't matter is a silent no to something that does. When you say yes to that unnecessary meeting, you're saying no to the project that would actually advance your career. When you say yes to going out every night, you're saying no to the rest your body needs. McKeown offers practical strategies. The pause. Before answering any request, wait. Don't respond immediately. Say, "Let me check my schedule," even if your calendar is open right in front of you. That pause breaks the automatic impulse to say yes. The graceful no. You don't have to be rude. "I'd love to help, but I'm committed to another project right now," is a complete, polite no that preserves the relationship. The explicit trade-off. "I can do this, but it would mean delaying that. Which is the priority?" This puts the decision back on the person who asked, and often they realize on their own that the request wasn't that urgent. The key insight is this: saying no isn't selfish. It's the most strategic thing you can do, because every no to the non-essential is a yes to the essential, and the essential is where your life actually changes. Perhaps the most powerful idea in the book is this: the pursuit of less is not a decision you make once, it's a daily discipline. Every single day, the world will push you toward more. More emails, more projects, more notifications, more commitments. The natural gravity of life pulls toward accumulation, and resisting that gravity requires conscious effort every single day. McKeown uses a brilliant analogy. Imagine a closet. Every month you buy a few new pieces of clothing. You never discard anything. After a year, the closet is so full, you can't find anything. It's not that you have too many good clothes. It's that the volume of mediocre clothes hides the good ones. Your life works the same way. Your projects, commitments, subscriptions, relationships, everything accumulates. And without regular, intentional cleaning, the essential gets buried under layers of trivial. The practice he suggests is simple. Every week, look at your calendar and ask, if I had none of these commitments, which ones would I add back? The ones you'd add back are essential. The rest are candidates for elimination. This requires courage. It requires honesty. And it requires something most people avoid: confronting the gap between what they say is important and what they actually spend their time doing. McKeown makes a crucial distinction here. Most people think the essentialist life is about sacrifice. It's not. It's about trade-offs. A sacrifice is giving up something valuable for nothing. A trade-off is giving up something good for something better. The essentialist makes trade-offs deliberately, consciously, strategically. And the trade-off is always the same: less breadth, more depth. Fewer commitments, more impact. Less noise, more signal. The book closes with concrete applications. One of the most powerful is the concept of becoming the editor of your own life. A good text editor doesn't add words, they cut. They remove the unnecessary so the essential shines. McKeown suggests you do the same with your life. Look at your week the way an editor looks at a manuscript. Where is there redundancy? Cut it. Where's there fluff that doesn't serve the purpose? Cut it. Where are there words, activities that don't advance the narrative, your goals? Cut them. What remains is clean, clear, and powerful. Just like good writing. Just like a good life. He also talks about the importance of protecting your most valuable asset, yourself. Sleep, exercise, time for reflection, these aren't indulgences. They're investments in your primary instrument of production. If the instrument breaks, nothing else works. The essentialist understands that you can't pour from an empty cup. That rest is not the opposite of productivity, it's the foundation of it. That protecting your energy is not selfish, it's strategic. And perhaps the most counterintuitive lesson of all: by doing less, you accomplish more. Not because you're lazy, but because every ounce of energy goes toward what truly matters. There's no waste, no scatter, no dilution, just pure, focused impact. Essentialism is not a productivity book in the traditional sense. It won't give you a magic spreadsheet or a life-changing app. It will give you something far more valuable: permission. Permission to do less. Permission to say no. Permission to deliberately choose what matters and let go of everything else. In a society that glorifies busy, the essentialist is a quiet rebel. They don't show off a packed schedule, they show off clarity. They don't flaunt productivity, they embody purpose. And in the end, the question McKeown wants you to answer isn't, how do I get more things done? It's, what would happen if I only did the right things? If this resonated with you, if you felt seen in that cycle of doing more without moving forward, know that there's an entire method built on these principles. Intentional productivity. Not doing more, doing what matters. That's what we build at Pulse.